Hello and welcome to the Storytelling for the Soul podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Kanata, and this is the place we talk about all things expressive writing and other creative techniques, all with a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer thrown in. Buckle up and enjoy. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me for another podcast episode. Now, the title of this episode comes from a conversation I had with a more mature person. Would I call her a friend? Probably not. More so an acquaintance. But she came to me and she said in good faith, Sarah, I'm in this position where I'm over 50. I have a family. I have children. But I'm so lonely because I don't actually have any genuine friends. So I spoke with her and we unpacked what she was saying. And the more that I went away and thought about this, the more I started questioning a lot of things. And first up for me is the way that we use the word friends. Because I think a lot of us call people in our lives friends when actually they're really acquaintances. Now, here's the thing. This is one slightly depressing reality of life, but it's that as you get older and life gets more messy, maybe you engage in things or find yourself in a place you never thought you would find yourself before, people slowly drop away. The kind of people who you thought you were close with. The kind of people who you thought were genuine friends. But the older you get, you come to the realization that actually you have few genuine friends in your life. Now, I'm talking here from personal experience. If your experience is different, good for you. My understanding is that if you have a massive circle of people, you likely have many acquaintances and not necessarily genuine friends. So when I say friends, I'm talking about the kind of people that you could tell almost anything in the world and you wouldn't feel shame, or you would feel shame, but you'd be okay with it, and it wouldn't change anything about your relationship with that person. I'm talking about the kind of person that in your darkest moment, you would actually reach out to and ask for help. And here's the thing, I'm approaching 40 rapidly, so I am very much on that cusp of midlife. And I've come to the realization that I have very few friends, genuine friends in my life, people who I would call friends. I have so many acquaintances through work, through business, through my interests like going to the gym. Sure, I have plenty of acquaintances, and I think part of this also stems from living alone as well, because when you live alone, you have moments where you get sick and you really realize that actually there's not many people you would reach out to for help. And that definitely has been the case for me. Now, I will say that I feel incredibly lucky that I do have a handful of people who I know that if push came to shove, I could reach out and ask them for help and they would help me. No questions asked. Now, part of the problem for me is my pride. I feel like I don't even know what it is. I feel maybe it's weak to reach out, which of course is silly. And if one of my friends reached out to me and asked me for help, of course I'm going to help them as best that I can. But here's the thing, and this is something I want to riff off actually, because I think I saw something about this from Mel Robbins, who of course is now incredibly famous, a renowned podcaster. I love her podcast. I love her work. I think some of her concepts are quite simplistic, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. The let them theory is one of those concepts where you just let people do whatever they want to you. I think that's great when you are of a certain status, like Mel Robbins, or maybe Oprah. I think when you're an average person like I am, and maybe you are, let them, and that notion just takes on a whole different level of meaning. But one thing I saw, I'm pretty sure on one of her social posts recently actually, was this idea that you can have really good friends who you only see maybe once or twice a year. And sure, that might be the case for people. However, I personally really disagree with that concept because I think to myself, well, how close can this person be to me if I'm only going to speak with them once or twice a year? And this piggybacks off one of my central core bugbears, and that is my birthday. So on my birthday, I will hear from so many people who do not bother keeping in touch. And fair point, I will say, I will take ownership that I also don't keep in touch with them because relationships are a two-way street. But I will get lots and lots of messages from people. It's always the same thing. I haven't spoken with them for at least a year, probably since my last birthday. And they'll tag on something casually like, we should catch up. That's the standard line, right? I feel like that's the standard line when you get older and life is potentially messy. And this is the thing. I have a very simplistic life. I live alone. I don't have kids. I don't have a partner. Basically, it's me, it's family, it's a handful of friends. I think that's probably about as simple as life can get for someone approaching 40. Of course, I have work, I have colleagues, I have business, acquaintances, all that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm very much of the understanding that you're either in my life or you're not in my life. Because here's the thing, time is precious. Time is incredibly precious, and I'm juggling multiple things. I'm juggling work, I'm juggling a business, I'm juggling family, I'm juggling actually giving time to people that I care about and not being a horrible, miserable person in the process that is just completely overwhelmed and stressed out. So for me, a friend is someone who I am in touch with regularly. It's someone who I know what's going on in their life. And how could I know what's going on in your life if I'm only catching up with you maybe once or twice a year? We have technology, people. We have phones. We have internet. Now, people often bandy the line that they are so busy and they just don't have time. I'm going to call BS on that. Sure, it might be legitimate for 0.1% of the population, but I am very much of the opinion, and because I know that this is how I operate personally, if something or someone is important to me, I make time for them to reach out because I genuinely care. And that's essentially how I approach all of my relationships and friendships. And as I have done so, I must say, I did not approach friendship this way in my 20s. I was probably far more insecure and awkward in my 20s, and I probably cared a lot more about the fact that I didn't have people in my life and tried a lot more, to be fair. But then as part of that, I found myself being and acting like someone who I really am not. And I'm happy to say that as I have journeyed through my 30s, that has very much fallen away because I am more comfortable with who I am. I'm more comfortable in my own skin. And I'm very much of the feeling that it's okay if you vibe with people, and it's equally okay if you don't vibe with people. So a lot of the people who in the past I thought were going to be in my life forever as friends have gradually fallen away, and that's okay. I haven't done anything to try to salvage those relationships. And here's the thing, if you're a little bit like me and you are the one who constantly finds yourself reaching out, you're the one constantly making the effort and reaching out, I will say everyone has their limits, and I reached mine. And so what I found is when I stopped being the first person to reach out to some of these people, those relationships gradually just ended. And that's completely okay, because the reality is I would much rather have a handful of genuine relationships and friendships than have a hundred of these random acquaintances in my life. It's not how I want to live. It's not giving me any kind of genuine connection. And for me, that's what friendship is about. It's about finding the people who you can open up to and trust. And yes, trust is a massive element here. Without trust in any relationship, what do you really have at the end of the day? So when this person came to me and we had this conversation, we talked it through, and by the end of it, I think she was feeling a little bit better, because I think a lot of what was happening is that she was looking at people on platforms like Instagram and Facebook and thinking that, hey, at my age, all these people are so well connected and they're always out drinking with people and eating and all that stuff. Hello, social media is a highlights reel. I'm guilty of it too. I don't put my darkest moments on social media. It's a very filtered view of my life, and that's the reality for most people. So, if you're in a position, and it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond, if you're in a position where you're listening to me right now and you're thinking, hey, I have no friends, no, it's totally okay. Things change in life. Remember, when you were a kid, you went to school. And so many relationships, when you think about it, they really stem from being in the same environment and under similar circumstances to people. As life happens, as you move on, as you have a family, as you move locations, so much can happen during the course of a lifetime. It's natural for relationships to ebb and flow, and some will drop away. What my departing message to you will be is something that I have realized definitely as I've gotten older, and it's that, to be honest with you, there's no value in me of any friendship that isn't a genuine friendship. Who cares if I can post a photo on social media that makes me look popular? Is that going to make really any difference in my life? Is it going to change my thoughts, feelings, perceptions as my head hits the pillow every night as I go to bed and think about my life and relationships and the day that I've just had? No, it's all a show. You are far better off putting time and genuine effort into building genuine relationships. And yes, new friendships can form. It happens all the time. Personally, I meet so many people at the gym. It's ridiculous. I think it's probably my main social outlet, to be honest with you, because reality is, besides the gym and walking, which is a solo pursuit for me, although the gym is a solo pursuit too, there just happens to be other people in the gym when I work out, but I go every day and it's always happens to be around the same people. But beside that, I'm spending pretty much 95% of my time working, either working in my job or working in business. And then the other 5% of my time, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm so brain fried, I don't have much time to do anything else. So, if you're listening to this and you're thinking or feeling a little bit down about not having many genuine friendships in your life, it's totally okay. Not the only one. And actually, to be honest with you, if you opened up to people, you'd probably be surprised about how many people feel like they're in the exact same boat. It's just that there's this shame and stigma attached with, I guess, being the loser, which for so many of us stems from high school and primary school and how we grew up. There's a lot of stuff there to process. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm actually recording this on a Friday. So if you happen to be listening in real time, have an amazing weekend. But if you're not, I hope you're having an amazing day whenever you're listening. Please listen out for the next episode. If you are interested in journaling with a twist or other body-based approaches that I teach, I'm an embodied processing practitioner. Embodied processing is a body-based approach to working with trauma. Head over to my website, sarahkanata.com. Sarah is spelled S-A-R-A-H. Kanata is C-A-N-N-A-T-A. And please tune in to the next episode. I'll see you then.